Well, let's go first to Iran. Almost 8 weeks after a very controversial election, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad was sworn in for a second term as president. But his main political rivals insist that the new government is illegitimate. It's more than just a challenge to Ahmadinejad himself. It defies the supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who formally endorsed Ahmadinejad. In Iran, an unprecedented political crisis is unraveling.
On Wednesday, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad took his second oath of office before Parliament.
I, as the President of the Islamic Republic of Iran, swear before the Holy Quran and the Iranian nation and God to be the guardian of the official religion, the Islamic Republic, and the Constitution.
Perhaps easier said than done. Ahmadinejad is under pressure from his allies. Earlier, he nominated Esfandiar Rahim Mashai for first vice president, but the cabinet was strongly opposed. Mashai is related to Ahmadinejad by marriage, and he angered conservatives last year with comments deemed friendly to Israel. Though the president obeyed the supreme leader's order to dismiss Mashai, he renamed him chief of staff.
After taking
the oath, Ahmadinejad has 2 weeks to present a cabinet of ministers to the assembly for approval. The appointment of Mashai sparked a rare split within the president's own camp, and the disarray will likely complicate his choice of a new cabinet. Ahmadinejad must present a list that can bridge differences of the ruling camp, which is not an easy task. And the president's ties with the supreme leader have also been cast into doubt. On Monday, after receiving the official seal of approval, Ahmadinejad kissed Ayatollah Khamenei's shoulder. But 4 years ago, the kisses were on the hands and cheeks to show absolute loyalty. Iran's official news agency reported that Ahmadinejad had not kissed Khamenei's hand or cheek because he had a cold. But Western media depicted the exchange as awkward. Ahmadinejad denied any disagreement with the supreme leader.
Some have tried to cast doubt on our relationship through propaganda and to imply that there is rift and distance between us. They do not understand that our relationship is based on affection, based on faith, and is a father-son type relationship. Its essence is not what they think it is.
Supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is Iran's most powerful figure. Some believe it was his support that gave dark horse candidate Ahmadinejad the victory in the 2005 election. But this year, Khamenei's insurmountable power is under challenge. Former President Akbar Hashemi Rafsanjani has emerged as the most powerful critic of the ruling establishment. Heading 2 of the 3 main clerical bodies that oversee the government, Rafsanjani ranks number 2 in Iran's political system. Within Iran's clerical leadership, if Khamenei could be considered behind Ahmadinejad, Rafsanjani could be considered the opposition's top supporter.
Today, Khamenei and Rafsanjani are the 2 most important people in Iran's politics. Their relations could be traced back to Iran's Islamic Revolution, when they were right hand and left arm to Ayatollah Khamenei. At the time, Khamenei was the president, and Rafsanjani was leader of the parliament. After Khamenei passed away, they supported each other. Khamenei became the supreme leader, while Rafsanjani began his 8-year presidency. Now their fight begins.
On July 17th, at a Friday sermon, Rafsanjani criticized the post-election wave of arrests.
It is not necessary that in the current situation we keep some people under the allegations of involvement in post-election unrest and keep them in jail. Let them rejoin their families.
3 days later, Khamenei warned the elite not to be trapped into helping enemies.
Elites should know that any talk, action, or analysis that helps enemies is a move against the nation. We should be very careful.
Their battle of words is bringing the widening splits between Iran's rulers to light.
Iranian politics among the clerics has until now had a form of a guise of consent. So to the outside world there's always been the appearance that there is consent and a consent-based decision-making and process. Now this has been broken, and this is extremely important. What kind of long-term implications this will have is very difficult to know, but we know that the regime will probably never be the same as it was before these elections.
The election has divided Iran's clerical establishment. But in the aftermath, what remains unchanged is the country's thorny ties with the West, particularly the U.S.
The enemy has to know with what kind of reality it has encountered. They should not be mistaken in understanding the Islamic Revolution and the Islamic ruling system.
Iran accuses the West of encouraging election unrest to topple the country's leadership. On June 29, 2008, The New Yorker reported that in late 2007, the U.S. Congress approved $400 million for a secret war in Iran. Critics say the post-election unrest might be one result. And the U.S. has added to the controversy in another way.
Good afternoon, everybody.
President Barack Obama decided not to congratulate Ahmadinejad on his re-election.
The international community have been appalled.
We heard that some of the Western leaders had decided to recognize but not congratulate the new government. They should know no one in Iran is waiting for your messages.
Still, the West, especially the U.S., is waiting for Ahmadinejad's policy on the country's nuclear program. Obama has given Iran until September to say whether they will have discussions about nuclear weapons. After forming the cabinet, how to break through the nuclear deadlock is Ahmadinejad's other priority.
伊朗的核政策在核问题上的政策呢，它绝对不会比第一任往后退缩，它只会往前。
One thing for sure is that the president will not retreat from the policy of his first term, because Ahmadinejad doesn't need to pursue another term. He will be freer to make decisions. And to some extent, the U.S. has given tacit consent to Iran's nuclear status quo, which also draws Iran to go further.
On the watch of Ahmadinejad, Iran continues to build on its nuclear technology. In April, he inaugurated the country's first nuclear fuel production complex. Iran's atomic chief says the country now has 7,000 centrifuges. This year, Ahmadinejad enjoyed great popularity, partly because of his stance on the nuclear program. In the next 4 years, he'll face a divided clerical establishment and the carrots and sticks extended by the Obama administration. What direction will Ahmadinejad's second term take? The answer depends on himself, on his U.S. counterpart, and most importantly, on the power supporting him behind the scenes.
Well, some Western critics say Ahmadinejad limps into his next 4-year term as a hugely polarizing figure, but the real force behind him is Iran's strong religious elite, especially the supreme leader. In the aftermath of the Islamic Revolution, Iran designed one of the most complex political systems in the world, with all different kinds of levels of checks and balances. Now it's time to see how that system really works.